Hello, this is DTO in the flow, wanting you to know that I have a 5-question interview today with Kierstie Payge, and we're going to kick off this interview by showcasing a video that we created specifically to hone in on what her practice looks like, who she is in the world, and to listen to a song that is called Emotional, and it's from my latest album, Radiant Energy. Enjoy. All right, Kierstie, welcome.
Hey,
how are you?
Thank you. I'm amazing. It's a beautiful day in sunny Southern California, and I'm happy. How are you?
Hey, living the dream. I completely love the weather, love the energy of 2020, and I'm grateful to say that we published your interview a few months ago, technically in 2019, and then we scheduled our 2020 live streaming interview now. And so let's kick it off with question number 1. Tell me and tell us about your personal journey with yoga and why is this important to you?
Oh, that's like such a can of worms. But we'll just start at the beginning. I was a gymnast my whole entire life, just from literally 3 years old until I was 16. Competitive gymnast, traveled all over the nation, and it was a pretty intense sport. So when I was finished, I had a little bit of damage to my body. I just was kind of broken, like body soreness, hurting all the time, and I was so young. And I went from having so much structure in my life being a gymnast to having so much freedom. And so mixed with that, I kind of turned into a little bit of a rebel, went off the beaten path a little, got in a little bit of trouble. So my mom was actually the first one that took me to a yoga class for my body to deal with all the stuff that happened, and also try and just get me in a routine to do something. And I loved it. It was great. And I did it for a little while. I liked it because it was physical and I could do all the handstands and the splits and thought I was a badass at it. But, with some time, I just kind of did it for fun, and then it just kind of fell off. But then it wasn't until years later I went through a particularly tough time in my life, like we all kind of do when we're on our own journeys. And I had something that onset a lot of pain and anxiety and depression, and I started having really bad panic attacks. And that was when I kind of turned back to yoga and did it more for like the breathing, first of all, because I had panic attacks where I feel like I couldn't breathe, and it's just really tense all the time and just not in the right mindset. And I started diving into like the breathing practices, started diving into meditation. It was really hard for me at first, but I slowly started to see the transformation. I started to manage my attacks, and I started to feel better, and it just kind of grew from there. It became this everyday thing that I just loved so deeply, and it transformed my life.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It is so powerful. I mean, that's not even the word to describe the transformation that happened for me.
Yeah. Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, and I feel that when life provides these challenges or obstacles or whatever it is that gets us to be at the core of who we are at that vulnerable place, then we get to choose. We get to say, we're alive, we're here, we're present,
Yes,
and let's
absolutely.
celebrate. And what can we do with our mind, body, spirit to really bring about the light within us? Which then comes
Absolutely.
to this question, like, so once you discovered that light within you and that connection to
Yeah.
your asana practice, what inspired you to take that next step, which is to guide and instruct other people?
I feel like I just kind of watched my view of the world change, my view of myself. Like I grew this respect for life that I didn't have before and just
Mm-hmm.
how precious of a gift it was. And I knew that so many people live in this place that I was in before, in this fear set, in this mindset of like everything is permanent, all of my pain, it's just there, I'm going to have it forever. And I just wanted to show people that that's not the case. And there's a way that you can change your mind and change your life through this practice, you know, physical, mental, emotional, spiritually. Um, and I just knew I knew I had to do it. It was just a calling. I
Mm.
had to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I'm going to show a picture for everyone. This is the spotlight that we did. And, there's so many beautiful postures and poses that we were able to share on your interview. And,
Yeah.
what was great is like one of the pictures that comes to mind right now is you and your element in nature. Um,
Mm,
just
yes.
serene and peaceful, in despite of, we all have breakdowns in life and then we get to have a breakthrough. So here's
Yes.
you in this serene,
Oh,
balanced, still place in your life, which I feel,
yeah,
um, we're all leading each other home, right? Back to our roots and
absolutely.
what's possible. That's fantastic. So our third question then is, what makes your classes unique? Like, what is it that you really specialize in, and what kind of praise do students give you after class when they rave about your teaching style?
So, you know, there's a million different ways to teach yoga, and there's so
Yeah.
much knowledge out there. And there's, when I first started teaching, I wanted to read every book, I wanted to know every muscle and bone and have the anatomy down to a T. And as I've been teaching for longer, I started realizing that the powerful stuff comes from just being super authentic and really just intuitively moving your body. And so I like to teach really intuitive movement, very flowy in a sense, where you're just trying these new different shapes. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like to create and make it just this beautiful, almost like a dance kind of like, right? But also staying true to that authentic, real yoga where, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you're structured and there's discipline. And if you take my classes, like you'll probably never do the same thing twice. We're just
Mm.
always being creative, trying different things. And I think that's the biggest praise I get is people come and they're like, I have never done that transition before, or I've
Oh,
never heard
nice.
anybody say it that way, or, you know, just things like that that really fuel my creativity because I'm a very creative and visual person. Like I use my body for everything. And I think that's what makes my classes so different and fun.
Mm.
And the music playlists are always awesome. Thanks to you.
Appreciate that. Which is the perfect segue into question number 4. How does music benefit your guidance during a class?
Oh man, I don't know about you. Well, obviously you, but music is like my soul. Like I can
Mm.
feel it whenever I start to move and that song comes on. You just shift to this like different layer of yourself and just like this different connection that you have with the way you can move and breathe, and it really sets up the tone for you to just kind of let loose and let go a little bit and let your body move to the music. And it can also just keep you so present and in the room. It's such a special tool, and I'm so glad it's like such a big thing now because back in the day you didn't used to practice with music at all. So I think that's been
Absolutely.
a great you know, evolution of yoga.
Absolutely. And as you and I were speaking when we were in the green room before we began, essentially I happen to be a musician that got massively transformed and inspired and
Yeah.
awakened through the power
Yes.
of my asana practice that then got me into the full breadth of like, what is yoga? And then
Yeah.
how can I play my role? And what my specialty is designing music specifically
Mm,
for sequences. And, when you're in a Shavasana, does that
mm,
song like enhance that experience? And as you said, I love what you said, like once that music plays and you get in that rhythm, that
yeah.
flow state, you're like, okay,
Totally.
you're inspired,
Totally.
you're just mind, body. And for those that are watching right now, that haven't been on the mat and had, an experience going through a yoga sequence, like what really is powerful is breath to movement. And,
Yes.
even throughout your day, breath to movement, right? You're in your flow, you're doing what you're doing. Even if you're sitting down, you're standing up, if you're running in nature, sometimes you get that euphoric moment where you're like, wow, I'm connected to everything. And when a whole class and a whole group of people are, going through those postures collectively with your guidance, I'm sure for you, it just feels so powerful and it recharges people, nourishes people,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
awakens people to what's possible, like what's their potential.
Absolutely. It really does just lift the whole vibration of the room, and it just creates the environment and the experience. Sorry, my puppy is right behind me. You want to say
Oh
hi,
yeah.
Cosmo?
Hey, what's up, Cosmo? Let's do a zoom in here. Hey.
It's Cosmo. Look, buddy, you're on TV. Good boy. Good boy.
We had to put
Cosmo.
his name up so his live streaming debut.
You're gonna be famous, bud. You're gonna get famous.
Yeah, you need an IG. Come on, where's it
I
at?
know, I know.
Well, do you ever post pictures of Cosmo on your Instagram?
Oh, all the time.
Okay,
He's
well,
my
perfect.
yeah, all the time. It's yoga and Cosmo and nature. So those three things I think we can all get behind. Dogs, yoga,
A-
nature.
Absolutely. Yeah, which I'll showcase right now since I mentioned Instagram, because it's really powerful when
Mm,
you can showcase your
yeah.
practice, and in nature
There's
you practice
Cosmo.
yoga. Hey, there we go. He's Cosmo's almost invisible in this one.
I know, he blends in with the light.
It's like
Big smile.
there's a face somewhere. I see. Yeah, excellent. And I
Yeah.
see this photo was taken at a particular
Yes.
studio, and
Yeah,
this is
mellow
where
yoga.
absolutely, and we want to give a huge shout out to Lisa because she's a dear
Absolutely.
soul sister. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we met, because I was playing live yoga music for
Yes.
an experience, and you were guiding. It was a co-taught class, which I always love,
Yeah.
the adjustments and the
Oh,
variety of
so
energy.
fun. Those live
Absolutely.
music classes that you play there, oh my gosh, they're just the best. Such
Thank
a
you.
good, such like a good energy in there. The music is so good. They're amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So what I want to have people know about is like how people can find you online, when your next event
Yeah.
is. And I know that you offer private
Yeah.
clients to, do you go to their homes? Do they come to your home? Do you meet at a yoga studio? So anyone that may be in the San Diego County area that would like to take a private instruction class from you,
Yeah.
which for me, when I've had privates, what's awesome about it is I'm from the Midwest. I didn't grow up with yoga. I only discovered it later, where I was just in a class. I was kind of looking around, and you're not really supposed to look around. You're supposed to be on your mat. It's your vibe. It's your energy. Take the guidance. I was like, okay, am I doing it right? And I didn't really
Yeah.
know. And you don't always get those adjustments that you want, or you don't have someone
Right.
one on one. Like if you're on a
Yes.
football team, your coach is going to say, okay, here's the pattern. You're going to do this. A good, like detailed instruction. And so what I love
Yes.
about privates that I've had, give a shout out to Jenna Carpenter. She's awesome. She's giving me a private
Mm.
class, and I'd love to take a private from you as well.
Yeah,
And
we'll do it.
absolutely. So what I love about it is, and I'm sure that you've had private clients share this with you, is like you really get to hone in on someone's
Right.
alignment. And honestly, anyone that's watching this, if you're an athlete at any level, even
Yes.
and if you're not in proper alignment, it could cause injury. So, so share about
Absolutely.
like what your specialty is when it comes to privates and other type of events that you're leading right now.
Yeah, I think it's a whole different dynamic, going from a packed class of 30 people to a one-on-one session where it is catered to you and your body and your needs and your, any injuries, recovering injuries, or any limitations that you may have. And I actually think there's just so many more benefits when it's one-on-one or even like a small group of people where you can just really hone in, like you said, on like what are you trying to accomplish here. There's also like this connection side where, you know, if you're doing it consistently, you really connect with your teacher and I get to connect with you, and we create this bond, and it's really a special thing because that's where a lot of the transformation happens is, you know, when you have that little sense of community with someone and watch each other grow. I just started
Absolutely.
teaching actually at a nursing home, and I think people get the wrong idea of yoga, that it has to be this big, crazy, handstand stuff. But one of the most powerful things that I do every week is I go to this nursing home and I teach these 5 elderly people. They range from age 85 to 96. And we do chair yoga and we
Oh,
breathe.
awesome.
And it's like the greatest part of the week. And it just goes to show that any level that you are, anywhere that you are in your body, there is a movement for you and there is something that's going to come up for you through this practice, you know?
Mm, absolutely. And I love that you're going to communities that may traditionally not have ever had access to this
Yeah,
ancient Eastern practice, where so
yeah,
many times, a lot of times people feel like, oh, like if I got to work out, I got to go to the gym, or if I got to do this, I have to go here. But if you
yes.
can,
Not the
as what I'm
case.
hearing for like your private yoga instruction, like, so like if a corporation wanted to have you come in and teach a class, you would be open to do that, or um, as you said, one-on-one instruction. And really, I think what Mellow Yoga has done beautifully is create that community vibe and like kids
Yes,
yoga. So I'd love for you to
yes.
speak into the teacher training that you're a part of, teaching with Lisa and other co-teachers.
Yeah, so we're right in the middle of our first teacher training at Mellow Yoga. It opened up only
Nice.
about a year and a half ago. So we're still fresh, but we've got the most beautiful group of souls. And teacher training is just a really powerful experience. It's just this deep dive into not only like learning how to teach, but to the whole history and art of yoga and yourself, and going over all of the 8 limbs of yoga and like the yamas and the niyamas and how
Mm.
to live your life. It's such a cool thing to be a part of. And I'm so grateful for that community. It's such just a fun group, a great experience.
And a fun fact, you may not know this, is Lisa actually taught me my 200-hour teacher training.
Oh,
So,
did she
so I
really?
have experienced her
Oh, that's
brilliance, her
awesome.
magic, and when
Yeah,
she
she's
is in
such a
that
great teacher. Oh,
zone, I mean, she's already
yes.
amazing mother, amazing, in so many different capacities as a
Yeah.
community leader, truly in Poway, and
Mhm.
then for her to teach not only the
Yes.
kids yoga and then the
Yeah.
adults, and then like come it to because you can go to class and you learn a ton. It's great, like,
Right.
and it's that consistent ability. And that's kind of my advice to anyone that's watching this right now is anything you're going to do in your life, like when it comes to your movement practice, whether it be trail running, whether it be swimming, whether it be hiking, whether it be practicing yoga, surfing, if you're in California or anywhere
Mhm.
where there's water. And it's really about consistency. Like you can
Yeah.
do a one and done anytime. But for me, I have a shift in awareness and I'll go even higher, like levels of consciousness, where all of a sudden, if I practice 3 or 4 times a week, that's kind of my sweet spot. That's my
Yeah.
zone of greatness, where all of a sudden I feel like, whoa, like my muscles start to like feel
Mhm.
themselves and I get
Yes.
and my beloved Himalaya, she has a whole program called Embody, and I truly feel like, oh, I'm in my body and I feel
Yes.
embodied. So that's really powerful. Oh, I see
Yeah,
my
there
friend
is.
Kelly just wrote,
Oh, yes,
hey,
true.
we can see these comments. Kelly and I know each other from high school back in the
Absolutely.
day. Yeah,
Yeah,
consistency is the goal, and that's truly
it is.
what life is all about. And I
Yes.
feel more than anything that because we're in such a world of multitudes of distractions. Like right now, we're live streaming this, and people could watch it now or watch it on the archive. But how
Yeah.
many other things when you're scrolling on your phone you could look and stop, and then it takes you to this link, and you go here, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was boiling water. Where okay, I'm in the kitchen now, and then something else happens, and then it's like, okay, consistency,
Right.
practice, breath. And as you know from my
Yes.
music, the first song I ever launched as
Mhm.
DTO is a song called Breath, which reminds us.
Oh, one of my favorites. Such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, routines, ritual, and discipline, I think, are just a catalyst to set you up for success in life. You know, just having these things that you do that are non-negotiable for yourself, um, make all the difference. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love you said non-negotiable because in other words, what I've said to myself is like a no matter what. Like before
Yeah.
I put my pillow on the, my head on the pillow at night, I have a no matter what. I'm going to do,
Yes.
10 sit-ups, 10 push-ups, or whatever it might be.
Yep.
Like we can swap out this, whatever it means.
Yes.
I have a client that I teach Spanish lessons to, and she is in the
Mm.
process of developing and writing her first book, and it's really powerful. It's
Mm.
about her life's journey, and she has some really traumatic things that's happened in her life in there, and she's definitely had the breakdown, now the breakthrough. And
Yes.
so she's writing this, but her coach basically said like 1 hour in the morning per day. Well, I don't have an hour. Wake up an hour earlier every day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like create that space, be
There is
consistent.
time. Yeah.
And we can do that. All of a sudden, the results that you can produce are phenomenal. And I'm
Absolutely.
sure your personal practice, I read in your interview that you
Yes.
have taught over 1,000 hours.
Yes, I teach a lot. I love it. Like it gives me life. It really does. It's my favorite thing to do.
Beautiful.
Practice and teach. It's yeah, it's a special thing. And I feel
That's
so
amazing.
blessed that this is what I get to do for work. I mean, how lucky am I? Dream come true.
Absolutely. Completely. And that's really what, you know, a lot of people throughout the history of time have said. Like, if you're unhappy, it means that you're not in alignment with your purpose. And when your
Yes.
purpose, when you get to discover that, and it takes, success isn't a straight road. It's like windy turns, and, you know, you fall down, you get back up, and all of that. And I feel like when we can choose within us, like, what am I here to do? Like, why do I
Yeah.
breathe air? And as I can hear and witness when I've seen you teach, and when you're connecting with community members and others, it really is a joy for you to
Yeah.
pass along this wisdom and empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all part of it. And I think purpose is such a loaded word for us sometimes. We think we're supposed to like wake up one day and
Yeah.
be like, oh, there's my dharma, there's my purpose. But it takes trial and error. It takes a lot of like trying things that you love and enjoy and figuring out how do I turn that into what I can actually make a living off of too, because that's so important. And yeah,
Absolutely.
it just came at a perfect time for me, and that's when I knew I had to share it too. So it all unravels. You know, if you trust the process and you put the work in, it happens for you. You create it.
Absolutely. It doesn't always have to be like you're in a field of sunflowers, but we can pretend that it's always abundant, delicious,
Yeah.
nutritious, and beautiful.
Well, it's
And
all part. Yeah.
all of it,
Sorry.
yeah, if we haven't arrived yet, then as this picture of you right here,
Mm,
practicing, you get on the mat and you make it happen, and you discover and you get to rediscover. And one of the coolest things I personally feel about being a human being is that we get to reinvent our lives at any time, right?
yes.
So even though you're not in that routine or having that consistency at any time, and especially if we have people that are like our accountability buddies, let's call them, right?
Yeah.
Like a personal trainer, or
Those are
coach, or someone.
important.
Yeah, just someone that believes in your vision and your dream. And
Yes.
if someone
Yeah.
believes that you are a stellar yoga instructor and you love it, and if for whatever reason, it's like, oh, where's Kierstie? We haven't seen her. Oh, where's she? Oh, maybe she lost her passion to teach yoga. What? Come on, wake up, get up. Because as human beings, we forget and we remember. We forget, we remember. And I feel like when you're in this flow state, when you're able to move breath to movement, have this body awareness, it's so powerful.
It is. And it's all part of the dream, like you were saying. Like all the struggles, all the stuff you go through, even when you think you found it, the hard stuff that comes, that is all setting you up for what's to come next. And having people around you, like-minded people in the same element, that creates all the difference as well. Like just connecting with you. Like how many great things do we get to do now together just through that one interaction in one setting? Like that's cool stuff.
Yeah, and that's really that reverberation of, how you plant that seed in the ground. Like it's always phenomenal to imagine that this little acorn can become an oak tree, like a magnificent oak tree from this acorn. And that's really our life's journey. We're living organisms, just like the tree's a living organism, and it gets to expand, it gets to grow, it gets to evolve, and we get to choose who we are in relationship, and we have this relatability with one another, similar to when I read the 5Q interview that we published, and I got to see like what really for you allowed you to like get introduced and then kind of go back, kind of like withdraw a little bit, and then you come back. And it's like once you have that sample, once you have that seed that's planted, then it's like, oh, I remember that sensation I had, or I remember how wonderful I felt, or I remember the community that really, cherished who I was and saw me for like my authentic, real, vulnerable self. And that's where I think the global yoga community that's consistently evolving and expanding has that capacity to really get people to be seen for the first time. Because there's been research that's talked about this specifically, that even though we're connected, we have all these screens, and it feels like, we could be on WhatsApp, I can connect with people in different countries. Like truly, we almost are in this age of loneliness, where a lot of times we don't feel fully, as you said, on purpose. But sometimes there's a pressure like, oh, what are you going to do? And what's your purpose? And then we relate your success to particular qualitative or quantitative results, where we get to choose and adjust that as we go. And if something's not in alignment anymore, then we get to say, okay, maybe how about your parents? Like when you told them you're becoming a yoga instructor, what did they do? Something like the crow did and said quack quack?
Honestly, my parents are so incredibly supportive.
Awesome. That's great.
Have the best parents ever. I mean, they, like anybody says at first, because I left my corporate job and I was like, screw this, I'm out. I'm becoming a full-time yoga instructor. And everyone was like, oh yeah, okay, good luck with that.
Nice.
And there is such a business side to it too, to actually really make it.
Completely.
You can't just go and teach 20 classes a week at studios. That doesn't make sense, and it's totally draining energetically, physically. You really have to find your angle and figure out other ways to capitalize on it. And once my parents saw that I was doing that, they were like, oh, I see, I get it now. This is your life. This isn't just like I'm gonna quit my job kind of thing and find something else. This is what you are meant to do.
Totally.
Because I decided it was,
Yeah, and we get to showcase your website as you're speaking about this. So
there it is.
Women's empowerment groups, private parties, events, corporate wellness, team building, right? And you do some blogging as well, finding yourself or freeing yourself.
Yeah, it's very lifestyle blogging kind of stuff, and I'm doing a life coaching course right now, so a lot of that is kind of weaved into the way that I teach too, a lot of inspirational stuff. It's all on my website. All of my classes are there, all of my events. I'm teaching at Green Flash on Sunday at 10:30 if anyone wants to come. Yoga, then some beer.
And that's the first Sunday of the month, correct?
Second Sunday of every month.
Second Sunday of every month. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe so what I'll have you do is in the comments, add your website, add any information so people can connect with you. And as you're seeing on the screen, everyone right now, here's the Instagram page. And then here's my Instagram page. And then I'm a part of Buddha Music Group, and our mantra, our slogan is raising the vibrations of the planet through art and music. And so it is
good.
truly this balance of, you know, being in the world of business, as you mentioned, where, yeah, you want to create this opportunity for yourself to find that abundance, where if you run yourself like over the top, tired and exhausted because you're over teaching so much, then you're not finding that security. And, you know, I'm a digital marketing coach, and that's something that I love to do, because a lot of times it's like, okay, let's connect your dream or your vision to like actual systems that you can put in place, and a plan, implementation. Yeah, there's theory, then there's like the practice.
Absolutely. So important. And that's tough for dreamers and people with big ideas to really put it into action. But
absolutely. Yeah. And this is why I feel like you mentioned, I've done some coaching and leadership programs myself. And I think a lot of the common, you know, themes are to have that accountability, to create a container, to have, let's say, a buy win. Like, let's produce it, but let's put a date on the calendar. Like, dreams are just dreams unless you have timelines that can measure it. And the same thing, all my 3 albums I've launched, it's like, okay, here's the launch date. We're doing it spring equinox, or we're doing 11/11, like my big last launch party. So then I got to reverse engineer. I got to like find a team of people. If I can't do it by myself, then I get to request support by other people. My joke is like, okay, attempt to do everything on your own in life, and then when you fail, call me.
Ask for help. Delegate. Yeah, I mean, we all need boundaries, you know. We all have to push some stuff away when it gets overwhelming.
And here's my advice too. Like, I can rock Instagram. I know how to do it. I know how to create my own newsletters and all this, and I create the content for all this, but I have a couple assistants that support me in that. And that's one of the things we get to do as well, is we get to, and if it's not like a human assistant, then utilize technology, right? If you are always messing up on your, you know, calendar meetings or anything like that, then like offload that to some like, you know, third-party company that can like send calendar invites. And so there's so many, I mean, it's extraordinary how you can create. And we already just showcased your Instagram, your website, and where else can people find you online? Do you do posts on Facebook often? Are you building out your YouTube channel?
Facebook, I am. My YouTube channel is in the works. It's not launched quite yet, but I'm filming it. So that will be soon. Same thing, Yoga by Kierstie Payge. Facebook, Instagram. I'm really most active on Instagram. I love Instagram.
If you, as we know, in the last few years, if I remember hashtag yoga was maybe like 500,000 like 6 years ago, and then by now, like, I don't even know,
it's blown up.
Yeah, it's
blown up. It is. It's so amazing for us, because that just means everyone is becoming more aware of its power, and it's just the best. The bigger, the better, right?
So check it out. Hashtag yoga is 76 million.
Jesus.
And I'm telling you, it's extraordinary. And
that's awesome.
And I have an idea. When you're building your YouTube channel out, you need some soundtrack music. This is this collaboration, right? Possibility.
I love it. Let's do it. Done.
Yeah, handled. Yeah. So everyone out there, we're actually just having a business meeting, and they're just doing it out in the open, so everyone can see the
so you can listen, see if you get any tidbits of knowledge.
Yeah, if we don't launch a video in a month or so, then you have the ability to, you know, just nudge us, elbow us a little bit.
Yeah, hold me accountable. Those YouTube videos have been a long time coming, because I'm kind of a perfectionist with that kind of thing. So
got it.
Yeah, awesome. It'll come.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you and the time that you took initially doing the 5-question interview. And then, of course, for us to do it live here for people to see. And I'll quickly scroll through it. So for anyone that would like to read the entire interview, it's going to be in the comment section. Or if you simply go to dtomusic.com, I have these 5-question interviews by a variety of international yoga instructors. And so here, see all these amazing, and there's a playlist you can see by music. And then, you know, from there, there's the beautiful waterfall in the flow.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much,
Oh, DTO,
Kierstie.
thank you. You just
Yeah,
seriously are such a light in this world, and I'm so grateful for you and everything you're doing. It's
I appreciate
beautiful.
you. Oh my gosh,
Mm,
you're amazing.
you're amazing.
Thank blessings.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.